Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of Acsme Conference 2021. My name is Emma, and today I'll be presenting my project, which is looking at professional identity development of biomedical science students, more specifically at the interplay between their employability, skills development, and attributes, and their self-esteem. So in order to understand this interplay, though, we must first understand what professional identity is and how it is developed. So professional identity is defined as the conscious awareness of an individual has of themselves as a worker, or in other words, it's how we see ourselves within the frame within an occupational context. So its development is an active and dynamic process which is dependent on our understanding of the profession we seek to be a part of, any previous experience we've had with that profession, our role models both in and outside of the profession, our commitment to that profession, and our education for the profession. So the development of this professional identity often occurs during our higher education as we begin to navigate the world of becoming a real world professional and begin to see ourselves within professional roles. So given this, it is important for both educators and students alike to be aware of what professional identity is when it's developed and the factors that contribute to it so that students can begin to actively develop it within the course of their studies. So factors that contribute to the development of professional identity include developing both transferable and career-specific employability skills and attributes, as well as further developing our self-esteem within a career context. These factors and their significance have been somewhat explored within specific degrees such as nursing and teaching, where the profession is on a set path. However, it's not so well established within generalist degrees such as the Bachelor of Biomedical Science. So why are we interested in biomedical science students? Well, it's because their degree is a generalist degree, so it has no occupational path and is therefore seen as more flexible in terms of career prospects compared to more professional degrees, such as occupational therapy, where the students are on a set career path. So this is due to students being enrolled in these programs, being able to tailor their course and their program to an array of different career areas in order to pursue different avenues. So rather than just one. So if we look at biomedical science degree, we can see that there are an array of professions that students can ultimately go into. For example, they can go to vast areas of biomedical research, or they can use the skills and knowledge that they gain from this degree as stepping stones into other career professions, such as medicine or allied health pathways. Now, although this type of flexibility is seen as an advantage in these programs, in these types of degrees, it can also make the formation of professional identity problematic, as research indicates that individuals with clear and defined career pathways are able to better develop a strong professional identity compared to those that can't. And this is because they have a clear picture of what that profession will be like, and that usually comes through their studies at university, any placements they go on and work experience, that kind of stuff. So having said this though, our past research on our own UQ students studying biomed has actually found that, as expected, they do have quite a diverse array of professions that they want to go into, but they are clear in where they want to end up being, so that final career destination. So unsurprisingly, the majority of students are wanting to go into medicine, but we do still have quite a large group wanting to go into research or industry or allied health areas, sometimes a combination of the four. So given these diverse intended career destinations, it's important for our students to be provided with opportunities to tailor their courses to that. And that leads us to questions. This leads us to questions of, are these students aware of the employability skills they will need, and have they developed them? And are there skills that these students recognize they need to further develop in order to be successful in their future career? So student research has shown that students are aware of the necessity of developing employability skills and attributes, but that they still struggle to realize what employability skills may be unique to their desired career, and also, more importantly, how transferable the skills they're learning are. So the Department of Education, Science and Teaching in 2002 wrote a report that kind of addressed employability skills, and they came up with a broad but key employability skills framework, which they believe should be the basis of a well-rounded employee, and these included such things as communication and technical skills. So we use this as the basis of our inquiry into what our students should really be saying to us, and then any ones that they mentioned beyond this framework we took as more career specific, depending on where they wanted to go. And this is useful to us because it could potentially inform us of how students develop in that factor of professional identity, which can lead them onto career success in the future. So where does self-esteem come into all of this? Well, self-esteem is defined as our confidence in our own worths and abilities, and its role in identity development has been well theorized within the literature, but specifically in professional identity, it's less established. So we know from research that we experience fluctuations in our self-esteem all throughout our life, and that occurs because of discrepancies between our perceived and our ideal identities. And we know that professionals and students alike that can manage these fluctuations can have a greater growth in their professional identity. So that's why we're interested in that. So also the factors that contribute to self-esteem have been heavily debated, and especially how many are there? So is there one, is there two, is there multiple? But the most strongest argument is that there's two: self-liking, so how satisfied we are with ourselves, and self-assessment, how we assess our own abilities. So we took these factors, and we also considered into consideration when designing our questions, and that made us think about does self-esteem relate to students' career destination as well as their perceptions about their current employability skills at this stage. So in order to address these research questions, we invited second year biomedical science students to participate in our project. The majority of these students were in the Bachelor of Biomedical Science, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Advanced Science here at the University of Queensland, and this also included 152 provisional entry MD students, so ones that already had a set career pathway out for them. They were enrolled in either an internal or an external stream, with the only difference between these being whether they had face-to-face lab classes in the internal stream or they had them online in the external stream. It's also important to note that this course was a prerequisite for the Doctor of Medicine program here at the University of Queensland, and so there was a broad array of students from outside these three discipline areas. So out of this cohort, 80% did provide informed consent to be part of this project, and so our project to use their meta-learning assessment to ask open-ended meta-learning questions, which are short reflective tasks, which is short reflective questions that students do during the semester to gain a deeper understanding of what career students intended to pursue, and the skills and attributes they had or needed to develop further in order to be successful in that career. Also to ask them to describe how satisfied they are with the progress they're making towards that career, and how their employability skills compares to that of their cohort. So these responses were subject to thematic analysis, both inductive and deductive, and statistical analysis using chi-square and ANOVA. So in terms of the career destinations, these students identified a wide range of desired career destinations, and using previous research by Christian Pantros here at the University of Queensland, we categorise them into 5 desired career profiles. So medicine, research, industry, and allied health, then a dual destination, as well as an undecided category. So 91% of students reported just one desired career they wished to enter into, 8% said 2, 5 out of the students said 3, and 1 said 4. So in terms of skills that students think they had already developed that would make them successful in their future career, they identified a whopping 133 skills and attributes, and using the DEST framework and the students' responses using inductive thematic analysis, we came up with 3 perceived skilled profiles, with the top 8 listed here, as you can see. So the top 8 listed here, with emotional intelligence and self-management being reported as already developed most often by over 50% of our cohort. So in terms of the skills that students think they needed to develop further, they identified 155 skills, so more than they think they already had. And again, using the DENST and the students' responses, we came up with 15 perceived skill profiles with the top 8 here as well. Majority of students wanting to further develop their planning and their technical skills. So we then compared these perceived skills with the desired career destinations using a chi-square and a Holmes correction. And we, like I said, majority of students went into medicine, followed by research, industry, and allied health. And there were similar skills that students had already developed across all these destinations, except that those wanting to go into medicine or allied health recognized emotional intelligence and communication as being more developed. And students going into research or industry mentioned innovation more. So in terms of further developed, again, it was very similar across these destinations in terms of the students' development, but technical skills was mentioned as needing to be further developed more by research and industry professionals. So then we looked at self-esteem, first doing a comparison between the two components, self-liking and self-assessment. And we found that there was a weak positive correlation between these two factors, and therefore they were treated as separate. So for the self-liking, majority of students were satisfied with their progress. However, over 20% of students were unsatisfied, so had low self-esteem regarding their progress to making their career destination a reality. In the self-assessment, majority of students said average, some said high, but interesting, in a below category, out of the two streams, the external students mentioned having a below average self-assessment of their career skills and attributes, and it was usually because they weren't able to attend lab classes face-to-face to develop those lab skills. So we then looked at using a one-way ANOVA, we compared student self-esteem factors to their developed skilled and then also to their desired career destinations. So we found no significance between the students' self-liking and self-assessment scores and the number of the skills they reportedly developed, indicating that that the number of skills students developed doesn't play a significant role in their self-liking or their self-assessment as much as we maybe thought it would. And for their desired career destinations, again, there was no significant difference between the different career destinations that student wanted to go, which could possibly indicate that their students are meeting the needs of those different areas. So this research has both implications for students and for educators alike. So we need that for students, they need that awareness of employability skills and attributes, because that will enable them to develop a robust self-esteem, robust professional identity, leading to more enhanced career success, as well as adaptability in the future. They also need to recognize that these skills they have are transferable, because like I mentioned before, if they aren't successful in entering the career they want to, they need to be able to know that they can transfer these skills across the board. For educators, it allows them to facilitate the development of curricula that will support students and enhance their employability and success, as well as support students to think about and develop more career-specific employability skills through their courses and outside of it if need be. And finally, I'd just like to acknowledge those that helped me with this project, specifically my supervisors, Kay, Louise, and Judith, as well as the second-year biomedical science students here at the University of Queensland. Thank you all so much for listening and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you, bye.